Book 1, Part 1, The Last Padawan. It is a dark time for the galaxy. It has been years since the fall of the Republic, when Chancellor Palpatine gave Order 66, wiping out the peacekeeping Jedi Order and rising to the role of Emperor. Since then, the Emperor and his Imperial forces have ruled the galaxy with an iron fist. The people have lived under the yoke of Imperial oppression, and the sparks of rebellion have begun in secret. Small clusters of rebels have begun fighting for freedom. One such rebel band is home to Kanan, a mysterious former Jedi who has spent years hiding his force powers and lightsaber. Not even his companions know his true past, that he was once a young Jedi Padawan named Caleb Doom, fighting in the Clone Wars under his master, Deba Balaba.
Hey Web World, Scotty D, thanks for stopping by to another video here in my comic book series on my channel. You want to watch the rest of the videos in the series? It's real simple to do so. All you have to do is go on over to my main YouTube channel page, then click on Playlist, then click on Comic Book Collecting. All the videos are right there. It's really that simple. And if you want to reach out to me, it's equally as simple. You can email me or tweet me. It's your choice. The email account is scott@scottydonline.com and the Twitter account is @scottydonline. Both of those are in the video description below for easy find and easy use. Let me take a quick sip of my coffee here. You know, I know that I've showcased this mug in some of my other comic book series videos, but I get a lot of questions around what coffee mugs I like and enjoy, and this is the one I drink out of more often than not, probably every day of the week. I do have a big Darth Vader mug. It's almost like a Stein. It's about that much bigger. But this one's really, really nice. Holds a lot of coffee. It's just a great mug. Yoda on the front. May the Force be with you on the back, and the Rebel logo. Tell you what, I will put a link in the video description below where you can get one of these mugs for your very own or as a gift. It is my affiliate link, but it doesn't cost you anything more to use that link than if you were to go out and search for the mug yourself. You just happen to get the mug that you're looking for, and I get the credit for helping you find the mug that you're looking for. So there you have it right there. I'm going to put this off to the back because I am very clumsy when I'm doing a review, and I don't want to, like, throw my hands and spill coffee all over the place. It would just be a bad experience for you and for me. Today we are going to be reviewing this comic right here in the back. This is the latest Marvel Star Wars comic book called Kanan, The Last Padawan. And this is the standard cover. This is the variant cover that I picked up. I have one more variant that I did pick up, but it is being shipped to me because every local comic shop in my area did not have that particular variant. I'm talking about the blank cover variant. I do get the blank cover variants when I can, and I wanted the blank cover for Kanan because I've gotten it for every new Star Wars comic book that has been released this year, and I wanted to stay consistent with myself, so I had to go online and I ordered it from an online retailer, so thanks for that. But this is the variant that I picked up locally here at my LCS. This is the TV cover variant of Kanan, the Last Padawan, and we see Kanan Jarrus right here as we know him from Star Wars Rebels. But, you know, you need to kind of look past Rebels for a second, because while Kanan is a character in Rebels, his character itself precedes Rebels, and this story kind of sets the stage for that. So this is the TV series variant. I really like this one. I've been a big fan of Rebels since Season 1, Episode 1. I can't wait for Season 2 to come out. But certainly, the way we know him to look in Rebels is probably not how you're going to see him inside of the comic book. I can assure you that. This is very cartoonish. This is more comic book and very artistically drawn. Very, very well, but nonetheless, I had to get this one because I've watched Rebels since day one, so I got the TV cover variant. Set this one off to the back. Here is the main standard cover, and as you can see, Kanan Jarrus right here looks a lot different than Kanan Jarrus right there. Some resemblance, but a lot more artistically drawn, like I said, and that's what you can expect from the comic book versus the TV series. So now, this book is written by Greg Weisman, artwork by Pepe Larraz, and colored by David Curiel, and the standard cover right here by Mark Brooks. A very, very nice cover, Mark. I've got to give you some kudos on that. Let me kind of pan around. This is a very busy cover, and I feel like I got to sneeze, and that would be very, very bad. So if I happen to, like, you know, go blank there for a second, And the mic cuts off. It says, I got allergies right now. Spring's upon us, and I feel like I'm just going to like sneeze any second now. So hopefully we'll get through this video without a sneeze. But as you can see, very, very busy cover. Some characters here. There's a female. There's a young boy right here. Who could they be? Well, that right there is a young Kanan Jarrus, and this is his Jedi Master. So we're going to find out a little bit more about that in the story here in a second. And of course, we have the older Kanan that we know of to be in the time frame of right around Rebels. But you can see that they've kind of given homage to Kanan in both respects. And there's a really cool quote by Greg Wiseman that I found that kind of sets the stage for this, because it's very important, because a lot of people are like, I don't like Rebels, so I'm not going to read this book. And what you need to understand is what Greg Wiseman says. He says, quote, "We're looking at the first year of Caleb's life, because this is before he took the name Kanan. We're looking at the first year of Caleb's life after Order 66, the day before, and about, give or take, a year after. This is designed to be, just to be clear, sum total. It's not like it will completely fill in the gap of Order 66 and A New Dawn. This is a hugely significant event in his life, obviously very seminal for him, but it's not designed to be encyclopedic." And so that's what Greg Wiseman has said about this book. So that's very important, because it sets your mindset of what to expect out of this book. Because I think too many people walk into comic books or stories or movies with a preconceived idea of what it should be. And you're hearing directly from the writer himself on what this book is really intended to be about. So the opening page is really awesome, with the Ghost and the entire crew of the Phantom and the Ghost, because they kind of are one and the same. The Ghost is the shuttle per se outside of the Phantom, and the Phantom is the bigger crew ship. But we see Sabine, Kanan, Chopper, Zeb, Ezra, and Hera, and each are in true character for what we know from them in Rebels. But then we get a cutscene to arguably my favorite layout in this particular book. This is very, very nice. I mean, this is a huge spread of artwork, and this is 15 years prior to the gruesome battle of the Clone Wars, and ultimately the purge that we know to become Order 66. And the massive artwork truly captures a time in the galactic universe that changed the course of Star Wars history, and how violent it was. And you can really embrace what the Jedi and the Republic were up against in this. So this book is going to jump around quite fast. I'll just kind of forewarn you up front. When you pick up this book, be expecting a lot of cutscenes, a lot of jumping around, a lot of where you're going to have to pay attention to the story. In fact, I read this book 3 times before I even set out to do this video review, because I really had to consume the content that well in order to understand it, because there's a lot of jumping around. And you're like, wait a minute, where are we? What's going on? I thought you said it was 15 years and now we're there? So just be patient with yourself in the reading. Set some quiet time. You'll get your comic books. I like to read my comics in a very quiet location. I will get the digital copy and I will put it on my iPhone and read it when I can, but also read the physical comic in a very quiet location where I can really consume each cell, each word, each intended action as the artist and the writer want you to feel in the book. And we see a younger Kanan in our presence. And then there's a flashback to the Clone Wars that is preceded by yet another piece of information to help you understand who Kanan is with his real name. Because his real name is not Kanan Jarrus, it's Caleb Dume, D-U-M-E. And I really enjoyed seeing that pop out in this story, because I have listened to the audiobook of A New Dawn by John Jackson Miller. By the way, I will put a link in the video description below for that book. oh my goodness. If there's ever a novel that I can recommend to any Star Wars fan, it is A New Dawn by John Jackson Miller. Mark Thompson is the voiceover artist for that book. Oh, tell you what, bringing a book to life is a very hard thing to do. And the writing of John Jackson Miller and the voiceover work from Mark is just astronomically phenomenal. You've got to get that book. The link is in the video description below for you to get for yourself. Of course, get the paperback if you want, but certainly the audiobook serves that story very, very well. But again, we see Caleb Dume, and when it was that Depa chose him as her Padawan, and then they're in the thick of things on Collar when we return into the battle scene, and there's a specific commander helping in the battle at this point, Commander Gray. I want you to remember Commander Gray in this storyline, because at the very end of this book, I was frustrated, to say the least, and we'll talk about that in just a few seconds. There's a lot of action scenes here with very few words, and I think that that's really to set the feeling and emotion of how violent the time that Caleb was coming up as a young Padawan was during the Clone Wars. And just then, there's a cutscene to General Cleve and an announcement that it makes you begin to think that there's something wrong here. And then General Cleve announces his quick departure with the Calorans. By the way, this is the first canonical appearance and the first appearance overall in the Star Wars universe of the Calorans. So if you are all about first appearances in comic books, here's one that you're going to want to get, because this is probably not going to be the last time we see this particular alien race. So to have a first appearance, if that's what you're into, this is the book you're going to want to get, because this is the first canonical and the first overall appearance of that race in the Star Wars universe. And the Calorans point out that there's little difference at times for neutral planets when it comes to regards with the Separatist army, the Roger Rogers. If you're not familiar with who the Separatist army is, that's those little battle droids. And, of course, the Republic. Of course, the Calorans, not knowing, of course, that both factors are ruled by Sith Lords at this particular point in the time frame. Then the ground is filled with destroyed bots, and you see some clone troopers, and you get a quick glance at Kanan and Depa Billaba right there standing over all of the ruins of the battle. And then we see another scene that clearly tells something is crooked between the Calorans and the Rebellion, with two clones standing by Caleb and Depa's side. And they seem legit, but one trooper seems very interested in keeping very close to them. Remember, I told you to keep an eye on one particular clone trooper. Pay close attention to that trooper in this storyline. And then there's a retreat to the outskirts where Depa trains Caleb a little bit more. And I really like this section because it's in the outskirts. It does pay some respects and homage to the feeling of the upcoming in the storyline of Tatooine, where you have the dual suns and Luke Skywalker is standing on the steps of Uncle Owen's farm. And he's overlooking the scenery with the two suns. You get that same feeling in this book with the dual suns in the background as Depa trains Caleb with the lightsaber. And so I really, really, really like that. And there is a conversation that takes place between Depa Billaba and her Padawan, Caleb Dume. There's a focus on the feeling of state, the feelings that Caleb has at this point in his training, what he just experienced, but the feelings go much more deeper than just an emotion. It's how a Jedi must continue to adapt to his or her surroundings, and then we get a feeling that Caleb's training is near completion. You get that immediately in this book, and you can only assume this because, like the author, Greg Wiseman, talked about, was that this story is kind of a glimpse into very captured moments in Caleb's earlier life. So we know what to be happening at the end of Revenge of the Sith. So we want to pay mindful attention to that in this storyline. Now, the book starts to wrap up very quickly with an interesting conversation between Caleb, Depa, Commander Gray, and Captain Styles. These are the two clone troopers that have been sitting around and following Depa and Caleb, and they're all sitting around a campfire, and they're talking about how the Jedi took on military titles during the Clone Wars, and how Depa disagrees, and Caleb comes to her defense when one of the troopers says she's failing to see the value of the chain of command. And the clone troopers pick up on Caleb's weakness in his young state of mind, and they start really just picking on him. And I didn't like that, because we always are conscious of bullying and whatnot in today's world. So I felt that there was kind of a bullying state there. But it's just one of these pieces that really stood out for me in the story. And Caleb is being picked on because he asks too many questions. And you've got to understand that you've always been taught there's no question that is a dumb question. Ask every question that you can. And that's what I like about the tail end of that whole section of the story, because Depa states to Caleb that that's the reason why she picked him as her Padawan, because he asked questions. And there's a really nice twist to why he's asking the questions, so you want to pay close attention to that in the storyline. And then Depa gives Caleb a holocron cube, and he's ordered to further on his studies throughout the evening. And then the book comes to a close with Commander Gray. He steps aside from the fire that's going in the fire pit, and Styles, who is his fellow clone trooper with him, Depa and Caleb are standing there. He steps aside just mysteriously. He's getting a transmission on his wrist comlink, and when he steps aside, we see a very familiar figure appear, giving the commander an order to execute on Order 66. And then the book just closes out with a "to be continued." That was a little frustrating to me and confusing. I had to go out to the Wikipedia and look up Order 66 and figure out what really happened there as far as how the canonical storyline is being maintained today. And what we know from Revenge of the Sith, when Commander Cody gets Order 66 from Palpatine on the battlefield, I've always been in the impression that he was the only commander that got the order to execute Order 66. But it's not. Apparently, according to Wikipedia, who is the unofficial official tracking of everything Star Wars for us fans, I looked up, and it states there that Order 66 was given to multiple commanders in the clone army. So I got frustrated, and then I got confused, because my perception, again, of that Order 66, where it was given in the movie timeline, was it was perceived that it was only given to Commander Cody, who is not dressed up in red accents on the clone armor. He had yellowish, orangish accents on his. Matter of fact, let me grab my Commander Cody acrylic bank. and I'll show you. This is why I have Commander Cody, a very important clone trooper in the storyline, because he was the one who supposedly took Order 66 and executed on it. So I was quite confused that we see in this one Commander Gray getting the order from the Emperor to execute Order 66. There's Commander Cody. Commander Gray's in the storyline. Apparently both got the order to execute on Order 66. I don't know. What do you think there? I was a little frustrated at that. Oh, by the way, I did a review on this a while back, but this is a very, very cool acrylic bank. It has some points of articulation. Just a really cool acrylic bank that I have in my collection, so I'll set that off back to the back. So yeah, I was... that was the one part of this story that I felt frustrated about. Because I was like, what? That's not who got Order 66. It was Cody. But apparently, to my surprise, more than one clone trooper commander got the order to execute Order 66. So there you have it right there. The book is quite short. It's only 22 pages long. And the next book is going to be very interesting, because we jump from a young Caleb Doom about to experience the Order 66 just turmoil that's about to go on. Going to be interesting to see what happens to Depa Billaba here, and how Caleb manages to escape and go into hiding. So this is going to be a very short mini-series for this particular comic book. I'm excited for every single book in this particular series, just because of all of the twists that we're seeing now, because the whole story that we know of is from the TV show Clone Wars, and also from the movie as well, the prequels. So it'll be interesting to see how this one pans out. Definitely pick up this one. The next book is set to hit the stands of your favorite LCS on May the 6th, 2015. Overall, a great book to start off with Kanan, the Last Padawan. This is the standard cover. This is the TV variant cover. And just overall, I had a great time reading this one. Definitely pick this one up in your pull list if you haven't done so already. If you want one of these banks, I will see if I can't find a link for you, and I will put it in the video description below for your easy find and easy use. This is the Commander Cody acrylic bank. Says ages 8 to infinity, from Diamond right there. This is the bottom sticker on the bottom of it. Very, very cool acrylic bank. But yeah, comment below on this one. This is Marvel Star Wars Kanan, The Last Padawan, #1. I'd love to see your comments below on this one. Were you as excited about this book as I was when you heard about the announcement? Are you still excited about it after you've read it? Did you find yourself frustrated, confused? It doesn't matter, good, bad, or indifferent. Comment below. I love to read your thoughts around what you think of Kanan, The Last Padawan. I'm actively involved in all of the comment threads in my channel, so if you do comment, I will definitely get involved in the comment thread. Don't forget to like this video. If you would, please share this video with somebody that you know who's a Star Wars fan. They don't necessarily have to be a Rebels fan. It's irrelevant to being a fan of Rebels, because this is not about Rebels. This is about Kanan Jarrus and his journey from being young Padawan Caleb Doom to going into hiding and changing his identity to Kanan Jarrus. That's what this book is all about. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. Just go on over to my main YouTube channel page, click on the subscribe icon. After you do that, don't forget to go to the right of that. There's a gear icon. Click on that and enable updates. That's YouTube's way of saying that they will notify you when I publish a new video here on my channel. Otherwise, it's anybody's guess what'll happen. If you are already subscribed to my channel, thank you so very much. And if you want to become more than a channel subscriber, you can become part of the Techertainment Elite by becoming a channel patron. It's patreon.com/Scotty D Online. There's some perks and rewards along the way in that campaign. Go over there and check it out, please, if you do. If you feel so compelled to get involved, thank you so much for your support. If you want to write me an email, scott@scottydonline.com. The Twitter account is @ScottyDOnline. Don't forget, the #2 book for Kanan, The Last Padawan, hitting the stands May the 6th, 2015. Until the next video here in my comic book series or any other video here on my channel, thanks for watching. Be good to each other. May the Force be with you. We'll see you next time, Web World.